Hello and welcome back to the Guns and Glory show. Today's video is about the garage wiring. Actually, it's more of a saga than a video, thanks to the inspectors. A lot of back and forth with this one. Scripture verse for the day. 1 John 1, 7 through 9. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. The blood of Jesus Christ his Son cleanseth us from all sin. If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Well, that'll be the first lit light bulb on the Guns and Glory property. You know what? When you take the roof off, it causes it to rain the following day, invariably. Anyway, the wiring in this place has a long ways to go. This shit's funny. I'm trying to get up rid of this crap. Oops. Yeah, peekaboo. Check this out. Isn't that cool? Like some fucking electric chair or something. Did court today. I was almost late. I was like speeding a little bit to get there, which is why I did not take the Camaro. You don't take the Camaro when you're late. That's not a good idea. Anyway, gotta wire this garage up. Get it on grid. At least, sort of. I'm not going to live completely off grid forever. I'm going to live semi off grid. Living completely off grid when you got a power pole like right there, really just isn't the best idea. I mean, it solves so many problems. My plan is to hook up things like the furnace, the 220 volt air compressor, air conditioner, well, what else would I put on grid? You know, just stuff that needs to be on. Stuff you don't need to pay attention to. Otherwise, use this off-grid lifestyle to save yourself some money. No point in paying these people. Hello, welcome back. Now, this is another one of my projects. I wanted to have 3.5 inches of insulation in here, and I want to add some more foam board insulation. This will be 1.5 inches for an added 7.5 on the R value. I also wanted to drywall this thing. Well, normally you put the outlet box and they got these little tabs on there to show you how deep to go. And with 1/2 inch drywall, that works out pretty well. Well, once I added this thing, this quickly became kind of a problem. So I figured I'd solve it by buying these extension things. And they didn't have all the number that I needed at the store, so I got 2 different thicknesses, which complicated my whole afternoon entirely. I suppose that if you wanted to put this on and then that on, it just wouldn't work. The outlet cover was behind it, and now, like, way too far behind it. Yeah, I am, of course. So this isn't working like I thought at the store. So I get home and I have to figure this out. Remember my disclaimer, I'm not an electrician. But I'm pretty good at finagling stuff like I've covered before. So what I came up with was if I got a piece of 3/4 inch, this would all just sort of work out if I put it together like this. As for the short one, it's 1/4 inch shorter, so I'll add this. This is 5 inches by 17.5 inches. Set this over 1.5 inches. Anyway, I'll add a 1/4 inch piece, just like that one, right on top, and that'll bring my depth up with those, with the remainder of the pieces, the ones that they didn't have in stock. Anyway, so we'll attach that with a couple of 2-inch screws. This isn't my first take. When I'm done, I'll put 4. It's no big deal. And then we'll attach our box with 3/4 inch course, we'll take bit more time to square things up when it's time to do it. That will solve our depth problem. And as I said, when we get the smaller ones, you know, we'll just add another 1/4 inch and bring it up to that level. Now our foam board, 1.5 inches, we can just bring that right up. I'm not going to have the tongue on there. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that right up to the edge of our board. Sheet the wall with it. The 2-inch screws are fine on that. And then we'll come right up over the top of that with drywall with a 2.5 inch screw. To finish it out. If you guys wind up doing this and you use these metal standoff boxes, make sure you keep an eye on your measurements so that your wall plates will work. One way is to put the switches in the metal thing, attach the plate, and then attach this to the board. I suppose that'd be the quickest way. I had to use math, which is bad because I don't like math. Well, I don't think it likes me either. There's one thing you're going to want to remember when installing your switch boxes and your outlet boxes, and that's to keep them all at the same height, or it's going to look really strange. I'm just using the seam that's created between the 2 pieces of sheathing for the switch boxes. As for the outlets, I've made this little outlet stick. At least that's what I call it. Story pole if you have to. You just set it over there and then set the box on it. Bring it back till it meets these 2 little marks. That keeps it at the right height for your drywall. And just nail it down. Wanted to point out a little time saver for you when you're installing those ceiling boxes. These speed squares have to be set just right. Put it at the bottom of the truss, make a mark, and put the bottom of that mount on that mark. Nail it down in your box. You can come out pretty much right where it needs to be for your drywall thickness. It'll save you a whole bunch of time. So one of these little laser things, especially if you're by yourself. You measure it, mark it. It's good to the 1/8 of an inch. We're having more inspector issues, and I lost my damn hat. That's alright, I got another one coming tomorrow. I hope they get it right. Anyway, the electrician came over to wire up the garage, and I'm like, cool. And he tells me about the solar system that the inspector's gonna pitch a bitch about it, saying this ain't UL listed, that ain't UL listed, this ain't. I'm like, this ain't your house. I told the electrician, I said, you know what happens when the inspector leaves a driveway? He said, yeah, the same thing everybody else does. Again, these inspectors are stupid, apparently. They don't know what's going on in the world. Well, I'm gonna open your eyes a little bit. As soon as you leave my fucking gate, I'm putting my solar system back in. I need that shit. I don't care about my mouth right now. I'm fucking mad. This ain't your fucking house. Go home. The electrical inspection didn't go as planned. He failed it because of a few things. I'm going to point that out. One, the electrician that we paid didn't wire this box properly. However, he did wire the box correctly. Let me explain. There's a ground rod here and one over there. They're about 6 feet apart. And there's a wire that connects it all together. It's supposed to be one piece wire and bolts in like these do. This box is connected mechanically to this box through this wire, and I think that's it. Anyway, so this box and that box out there are connected, they're grounded, but the electric inspector wanted the ground wire to go from this box out to there. Bullshit. The other trouble he had, he didn't like my table. Now, I worked really hard to put that table together because I needed it strong and I didn't want it supported off the floor. I had several hundred pounds of batteries on there, as you know. Well, he says, you got to have 30 inches in between there. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll take it out, and as soon as you leave, I'll put it back. He started to get the idea something wasn't going right. And then he didn't like my crimp sleeves because I used diagonals to connect them. I used diagonals to connect them because I didn't have the regular tool because I didn't need it. I had diagonals. They work better. He's like, no, you got to redo all those. So I go down, buy the tool, and then I use it to see, how does it work? And this is, if I get my fingers on it, this is the result. It just sort of bends it. That's it. Mine actually used the malleability principles of the copper to squish the copper together. That spreads it out, spreads the forces out too far. It can't do that. So I've got to redo all those. And then you're supposed to have a staple within every single box, within 12 inches of every single box, rather. And I had run short of wire. So I skipped that one, and he's like, no. So I asked him, if I put a 2x4 over there and put a staple in it, will you take it? So yes. So now, since he did that, when he's done, I'm going to go with a tape measure, and if there's a staple within 12 inches of any box, I'm going to remove it, even though I put them all there. And I kind of wanted them there because if you're working on the box or the outlet or whatever, and that wire gets pushed back into the wall, it's a pain in the butt to get it back out. You usually got to break into the wall to get it. That staple prevents that, but you don't tell me what to do in my house. The other problem that he had was with all of my outlets and all of my GFIs. He wants this little tamper resistant outfit in there so little kids can't poke, whatever into the outlet. Well, the thing is about that, if you're a parent, you should have told your kid about that by now. And if they disobeyed, they're either being rebellious or stupid, at which point they deserve whatever, stupid games win stupid prizes. At any rate, it's entertaining. The kid will either A, walk away from that a little bit more intelligent, or B, won't walk away from it, and the rest of us will all be safer for it. So, I told the inspector, I was getting kind of mad at him. I'm like, look, I've got that generator hook up right there, which means I don't even have to hook up to the grid. I don't need your fucking sticker if, push comes to shove. And I can tell you what, if I was still living down in South Carolina where it was only cold for about a day or two a year, he would have been told to kick rocks. So he's like, well, do you want me to leave? I said, no, I want you to do your fucking job. And don't forget who you work for. I told everything that you're doing up here, I'm going to fix it as soon as you leave. I said, I don't understand why you people don't understand what happens when that gate shuts. He said, well, it's your house. You can do what you want. I said, yeah, that's my whole point. I don't think you people understand. This is my fucking house, and I'm going to do what I want here. I appreciate safety. I said, my dad was a contractor, and I've known about inspectors, so I understand you keep people from getting the house on fire, getting electrocuted. But also being employed in that field, I heard about the horror stories from inspectors screwing people over, excuse me, to the point where they can't even get anything done. He starts looking in his little book because he's annoyed at me. I said, so now, since I've been a dick to you, you're going to look in your little book and find everything you can find wrong with me. Just fuck with me. He said, no, I'm going to make sure you get a thorough inspection. Get quality inspection. At which point I'm like, look, I explained to him, I said, look, I came a long ways to get away from bullshit like that. I'm not about to put up with it here. I don't have to. And he's like, well, I've got a sticker on my truck that says gun control means hitting your target. I mean, we're on the same side here. I get it, but I have to do my job. So we talked for a while. We wound up actually getting along, but I told him, but by the time he left, we were pretty good together. But I told him, I said, look, every one of them outlets, I'm going to take them back out as soon as you leave. I'll put them in for the inspection. I'm going to take them out as soon as you leave. Because for one thing, I don't like them things. When you try to plug something into it, it wants to fight with you. And I'm the kind of guy where if I started pushing on that and it doesn't go in. I'm going to push it harder and harder and harder until it goes out the backyard, right through the wall. I don't care. That's just the way I'm built. So I told him I was going to take all my outlets back, but I changed my mind. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to take them out of the garage after the inspection. I'm going to put them in the cabin. I'm going to get them inspected. I'm going to take those out, put the outlets I want. I'm going to take them out and put them in the trailer. Do the inspection, take those out, and put back what I want. I'm going to put back my table. I'm going to put my solar system back up. And I'm going to do things my way, which is the whole point. If I didn't want to do it my way, I'd live in an apartment. Well, these are the wires and the outlets for the garage. I guess that my ground wasn't good enough, so we're just gonna not have anything to inspect, and then when he leaves, I'll put it back. I left the one for the furnace, I left the one for the air compressor, the air conditioner, the outside plug, because those all terminate without those crimps. I left that GFI, which will run the circuit for that plug and for that one. I removed the ceiling plugs entirely. Removed all of the plugs along this wall. I have to remove that table, call the electric company to get them to fix that ground, and call for an inspection. I got the table out of there, just like the government wanted. Sitting over there. Oh, cool, a woodpecker. Neat. Anyway. This is the difference between, you know, the government and me. It'd mess up my whole solar system, take that all out, take out all these, leave me with nothing to work with, and now I gotta put it all back. And then he wants me to put these metal plates in behind all these holes that are too close to the back. Well, I explained to him that you put the siding and everything on, and then you put the electrical stuff in. So you're probably not ever going to hit that with a nail, but that wasn't good enough. So now I got to take that out, drill a new hole, making the 2x4 stronger, and rerun it. Well, I certainly hope he's satisfied with himself. This is what you do for a living. Had a little surprise show up today. Go get our wiring put in. Goodness gracious. Luckily, we don't have to go down so far. About 3 feet or so over here. It's going over there with it.
Pretty sure we got like 4 years later on.
That ought to help pull it around. Poppy's gonna love that. time to get this wiring hooked up in the garage. I can put my security cameras on that pole, which is a little better. Good. Well, I sure wish I had that thing when I was building that roof over there. Putting on a new housing in case that wire in it. He's on. Is there a guy in there, Poppy? Is there a guy up there on that pole? He's fixing to make them final connections up there right now. I would unhook that switch, but that's up to him, I guess. Glad he's doing that. I ain't messing with none of that. Sorry about that. I love that. A little bit of airplane traffic every now and then. There's a C-130 up here yesterday. I was like, yeah. Love that. Thinking that's a sturdy connection. Well, he's finished his connections and now he's on the phone. I suppose he's having it turned back on now. Cool. good. That means I don't owe nobody no money yet. Well, that's that. We'll go in there in a minute and see if it works. Alright, everything seems to be in working order. The light on the stereo circuit's working. That light on that circuit's working. Furnace, air conditioner. And that circuit, ceiling light circuit is on. And I don't have any of the ceiling lights or fans in place, so I'll have to check that later. Now that the inspectors are gone, about to put this table together. And you got to think about what's going on if you intend to drywall, because if I want to put this table together and I have an 1.5 inch styrofoam back here and then a drywall, I don't have much of a purchase right here for this piece of drywall. So I'm going to use that whole width, put a strip of drywall in there first, and then I will go ahead and fill this out with the insulation and then the drywall, which I'm going to put on underneath the table, and then I'll start to put that table in there so I don't paint myself into a corner. Like with this piece of board right here. I want to make that table stick out a little farther. Sorry. So we want that there, and I want to have a nailer here. So you got to kind of think ahead. And around this door, I need to bring this up over here around the edge of the thing. To again account for the thickness of the that styrofoam. It's 1.5 inches. The only boards I have around here are the little spindles around the deck. So I suppose I will go rob a couple of those and then put them around the doorway. And the same thing happens at the windows. I want to make that a rounded corner so that I don't walk into that. That's no fun. So I need to take a measurement from that corner right there. This reinforcement, I want to come over here to here, and that's 9 1/4. For those of you who've been drinking, I apologize. Okay. So we'll take that 9 1/4 over this way, and we're going to make a mark right here. And that's going to go from the wall to the edge of that 2x. And I want to make an arc over here. So in order to do that, I need to make a square line that away, just off into the distance somewhere. And then I'm going to make a measurement from here over, and I've got 11. So I'm going to mark from here over and mark 11. Whoa, burn an inch there. All right, and there's 11. That one ain't very square, so we'll use this. And we'll come back with a square line here, like that. And I'll take something like this back scratcher. And no, I legitimately needed that right then. Put that right in the corner, like that, and hold here. I like to make a mark on that, but if you drag it, it'll probably mess up. If you use it to push, this works a lot better. Cool. For our purposes, that's good enough. There. I can clean that up. Why not? So now we have our arc established. Got the first couple of drywall panels going in, and I got this leg started. Well, that leg's actually finished. Unfortunately, when you drop the drywall, sometimes it breaks the corner out, and this is just paper. But I'll backfill that with mud, and then the corner bead will fix that all up. I did put a 2x underneath this thing to keep it from warping, and it's in an odd angle intentionally so I can make the board in the corner. Make it to the board in the corner. That'll make making these legs all sorts of fun, but oh well. It's not that big of a deal. Stupid inspector. Dad always told me that the inspector was never happy until they cost you both time and money. When they're done with you, maybe they'll go get some blood out of somebody else. He was right. This guy cost me a lot of time, and he's cost me a lot of money. I was so irritated with him, I almost told him to go put his mask on. Table's done. And because of the angle, I ended up adding that little block to bring that forward a little bit. And I'm thinking I might put a 2x6 along the bottom of that to put stuff on. Not sure yet. We'll see. Either way, I'll trim it out otherwise. Hey there, I just wanted to add this little clip. I was doing the editing on this electric video, and I forgot to add the point that this inspector straight up lied to me. He told me after he'd inspected this thing the second time, where he gave me the approval sticker, he's like, we're going to come back in a couple of months when you inspect that furnace over there, and we're going to give it a final inspection, at which point I'll check to see if you put the right GFIs in it. The right GFIs meaning he wanted the tamper resistant ones in it. So I run around and I buy all these GFIs, put them in everywhere. And he never came back for the inspection. There was never an inspection. He knew that I told him I never had one before, never had a permit before. So he wanted me to go spend all this money on like 6 of these GFIs, the tamper resistant ones. I don't even remember what I spent. But the fact is, I'm on a limited income. This isn't like I'm a millionaire yet. Maybe I will be. I don't know yet. I'm a positive thinker. So I'm supposed to be buying insulation and not this electric stuff, which he knows I'm not going to keep in. He wasn't even going to look at it, and yet I had to spend the money and put it in. And yet I don't have enough insulation upstairs yet, and I'm pumping propane out like crazy. This guy's still costing me money. And they wonder why people don't like them. Something I should have figured out a little bit before I did what I did. I'm standing up here on this table, you know, doing the mud with this here tool, and wasn't watching stuff, and I managed to cross it over about 3 of those poles. Made one dandy spark, a really cool sound, and a pretty good cloud. And I spent the next few minutes trying to straighten out my tool, which I did. But today I decided I wasn't going to do that again. So just wanted to share that with you. Finally, after several months, like September, and here it is December already, I've got the solar system hooked back up. All the inspectors are gone. Got all the approvals I need. Everything's good to go. Wanted to show you how this is all set up. Got the Cat 6 coming in up there to the security system. Thought, like I said earlier, that was a good place for the printer. Got the audio video wires going out to the stereo on that side of things. The printer connection to the laptop goes down through there, as does the wire that sends that beautiful picture over there. This battery, I've got a different video on this, but I've got a quick disconnect here. I can take this out of here and put it in the truck and charge it up on days like, or weeks like this where we haven't had any sun. Since the laptop charges up at 150 watts, I put it on its own little switch. Save me some money. All the other stuff that has a battery in it, I charge off grid with the inverter. I can run this plug just like that off the inverter, and I've got it set up where I can just feed the wire on out over here if I want to. Keeps things nice and simple. Got all copper wires, nice heavy duty construction, nice heavy duty copper. Got the controller here, fuse box, and the The bus bars, I've got to get a hold of some heat shrink for the bigger ones. I got heat shrink, but nothing that big. These are all the switches for the off-grid stuff. These are the switches for the on-grid stuff. These are 3- and 4-way switches. I got a set here, one here, and one over there. That's the fan switch. That's for the ceiling fans. So let me give you a rundown on how these work. I've got 2 different bays, one for this side, one for that side, and I can turn them on from any position, as well as I've got 2 ceiling fans, although we've only got the one bulb plugged in at this moment. As far as the off-grid stuff, this turns on the lights outside. This is really nice. It's a nice glow. I got 7 of those on the front, I got 7 of them in the back. Moving on down the line, I have a pair here, a pair coming out of each of the ceiling fan outlets, and then I've got a pair out there. And then I have divided this garage up into 4 different bays. And these, I've got 8 different lights. Let me turn these off. There you go. I got 8 different lights in each bay. And most of these are still hidden underneath, wrong switch, underneath the insulation. But I have several different levels of lighting options to choose from, day or night, whether I want to run it on grid or off. It's been a really long, very frustrating process dealing with this place and the government. Anyway, I guess that's it. Have a good one.